Let's talk about money today. This is one of the main questions that long-term travelers get. How is this financially possible? One option is that you are continuing with your full-time job just remotely, and then it is very much possible. Even your financial situation might be better than it was in your home country. But a lot of digital nomads, they don't want to continue their previous job, and they want to explore something new. They want to start freelancing or their own business, and this usually means that you need to really cut the costs in the beginning. So how expensive it is to travel or live abroad? Let's start with a perfect example. I stayed for 1 month in Norway, which is also well known as one of the most expensive countries in the world. But I believed that it cannot be that expensive, and so what I did, I just tracked my every single expense throughout the whole month, and I'm planning to keep doing it for the rest of my trip. So how much did I spend in 1 month in Norway? First, my fixed costs were 52.73 euros. This includes insurance, which was 9 euros 37 cents. My Upbeat subscription for the music for my YouTube channel, which is 6.99 euros. Another cost, my Zoom subscription, which is necessary for my articles writing job, which is 8.38 euros. And I also got yearly video subscription for my video editing program InShot, which was 17.99 euros, and we finish it all up with my regular phone bill of 10 euros per month. Fixed costs, are they low or high? Considering that they also include my yearly subscription for video editing program, it's not too bad. But otherwise, come on guys, I'm trying to reduce the fixed costs all the time, and them to be over 50 euros, it seems quite a lot, but every single of those programs I really need, and I have even looked for cheaper alternatives. For example, I was using Epidemic Sounds, which was I think 18 euros per month, and I found Upbeat, which is 7 euros per month. And Upbeat is great. I thought, oh, it's so much more worse because of the price difference, but it was good. And also my insurance, which is at the moment 9 euros because I'm in Norway, which Estonians consider a quite safe country. Yes, at the moment I'm using Estonian travel insurance, but when I'm moving to Asia, I need to use something more expensive. So I'm going to use the safety wing Nomad insurance, and my insurance cost will increase significantly from this 9 euros. So my fixed costs, 52.73 euros. Next category, transport. So my total for this month for transport was 204 euros.56, and it goes like this. 68 euros was my flight from Tallinn to Trondheim, and from there on I used 13.16 euros to get to my friend's place in Levanger. From there I used again the same amount to get back to the airport, and then 65 euros to get to Oslo airport, and from Oslo airport the train for 1 hour to get to Drammen was 22.65 euros, and I will use the same amount to get back to the airport. So 200 euros for transportation, again sounds a lot, but I also did some traveling. So I would say that the flights in Norway are quite cheap, the domestic flights, like 60 euros for a flight ticket, not bad. But the train tickets, they are like 4 times more expensive than in Estonia. 22 or 23 euros just to travel for 1 hour, and you do not have alternatives. Because believe me, I was looking for the alternative. There was none. You either take this train or you walk. I have also walked those distances, but that time I felt like taking a train. So 22.65 euros felt quite steep for 1 hour trip. But that's Norway. And also this train trip was, I think, the only time in Norway where I felt like I'm trapped, or I need to really pay the high price and I don't have alternatives, because with everything else I could choose, but the train is expensive. Another category, activities. So in total I spent for activities 138.66 euros. So the main expense in this category was my monthly pass to the water park, which was amazing. It was 110 euros. So I could use the 50 meters pool and the gym every day as much as I wanted. No time limits, no entrance limits. It's there and I can use it whenever I want, how much I want. Yeah, totally worth it. Then I went to cinema. It was 15.3 euros, the ticket for cinema. It was Estonian film about sauna, and it was crazy experience to go to cinema in Norway and be able to just watch the movie in Estonian language. The movie has got so many awards. I think the title is something like Sauna Sisterhood or Sauna Sisters. You will find it for sure if you Google. And again, totally worth it. And when I went to the movie, there was a really friendly Norwegian woman sitting next to me, and she was just super friendly, asking so many questions about Estonia and sauna, and even inviting me later to the pub and offering me peanuts. And yeah, another additional nice thing about this experience. And the last, not least, is 13.36 euros for scooter rental when we were just hanging around, driving with my friend in Drammen. Yes, it was a little bit expensive, but every time when I do this kind of activity, I ask myself, do I really want to do it? And if the answer is yes, and if the expense is not like super crazy, I will do it. Because I'm not doing activities every day, but what I want, I do. And I will fit it into my budget. And before we talk about groceries, we are left with 2 more expenses. And these are expenses for hygiene, 11 euros.43, and electronic expenses. I needed new cable for my phone, 4 euros, from a really good shop in Norway called Normal. That's I don't even know if this Normal shop is only in Drammen or all over the Norway, but it's a great shop and cheap. And now the last category, groceries. So in the whole month in Norway I spent 198.6 euros for groceries, including, I really didn't eat out, but I went to McDonald's, which might be eating out like 2 times when I felt like eating some burgers. And I took the cheapest meal there. So I actually didn't eat out. And less than 200 euros for groceries is also something that sometimes I have not, or not sometimes, I spend more in Estonia most often. But while coming to Norway, I was very self-conscious about my expenses, and I tried to save money from the groceries, and also I could not say that I was not eating well. Like whenever we were cooking here with Melis, we are making great food, healthy food, just we are trying to cook like a lot at once. So for example, Melis cooked for 4 days and we were eating the same food for 4 days, but it was good food. So yes, I was a little bit worried about how much the groceries would be in Norway, but I can assure you they are not expensive. Like in Norway they have those, every shop has like those brands which are the cheaper brand and which are actually cheap and often cheaper than in Estonia. So I didn't feel like I pay more in Norway for the groceries. Yes, there are some things that are a little more expensive than in Estonia. For example, like quality meat, more expensive, and eggs, more expensive. But also there are cheaper options of the meat. So I would say that for the meat that in Estonia, I don't know. In Estonia, I could buy, you know, the more expensive kind of meat and I wouldn't feel like I'm paying too much. But here in Norway, I actually started buying the cheaper meat because the more expensive one seemed too expensive. But when I'm buying the cheaper option, it's still kind of the same price as in Estonia. But for other things, it's quite equal, especially if you're buying the cheaper brand. So groceries, they are not expensive. This month I didn't spend anything on accommodation because I came to Norway to spend time with my friends, and my good friends who live here, they also wanted that I would stay with them. So I stayed with 2 of my friends and it was super great experience. I could see how they live and I could really spend a lot of time with them and I'm really happy about it. So the accommodation expense is 0, but if you are coming to Norway and you're trying to save money, I really would suggest you to find some free accommodation options. Maybe use Workaway or Workpackers sites where you can exchange some hours of work in a day for free accommodation and even maybe free food. Because as long as your accommodation expenses are covered and as long as you're not using trains maybe too much, you will be fine. So, what were my total expenses to travel to Norway, to travel inside Norway, and yeah, up to the airport to leave? It was 610 euros 0.01 cents. I was excited at some point that maybe I will make it under 600 euros, but it didn't happen. Maybe I should have waited with this yearly subscription until this time is over, but no, that's the real picture. It was 610 euros, and if you know, if you would come and you really get free accommodation from somewhere and you don't need monthly pass for the training center or water park, you can easily make it at 500 euros. No problem at all. So, summary about Norway. If you want to travel Norway on budget, try to get free accommodation. Food is not an issue. Traveling by train, little bit expensive. And anything else, you can still find cheaper alternatives. So do not skip Norway because you think it's too expensive. I think it's doable.